The DOC, Juanita Blah's Island Girl Power. And first, we'll go in with the new. There was a release that came out. The Republicans have elected a new party chair. It was Senator Tony Ada, but now it's Juan Carlos Benitez. Almost like volleyball. Benitez it's not like he's new to the party. And so I guess congrats right off the bat, Juan.
Thank you so much. It's a true honor and a pleasure to serve as a head of the party. You know, we're heading in a challenging time, so it'll be a very exciting next 2 years as we prep up for the next election.
Right, and that next election is a gubernatorial election.
It's a gubernatorial, legislative, and congressional.
Right on. So let's just start. Let's just start with
big one.
Yeah, with the gubernatorial. What's it looking like? Because when I look at the lay of the land, I'm not sure if I see a 1-2 with the Republicans. I mean, no offense. I'm just saying.
You guys recruiting? I mean, or anybody step forward?
Oh, absolutely. There's been actually a large number of individuals that have expressed interest in running for the position. We will let those campaigns do their announcement where they feel that it's appropriate. Right now, they're just exploring into the field and trying to figure out who they want to team with. I think that's a big key here is in Guam, we run this as a two-man team or two-man operations. And normally we have someone who's running for the lieutenant governor's slot.
You said a large number of individuals.
Yeah.
I mean, how many are we talking?
Because we asked Senator Moylan way back.
Over 6 and less than 20. Somewhere in the middle.
We asked Senator Moylan if he was considering it, and he was really coy about it, right? He wouldn't say yes, wouldn't say no.
Well, here's the thing. It's sort of unfair for the candidates to be asked now. Because then if they're in any elected office, their actions for the next 2 years is going to be questionable. You're doing this because you're looking at positioning yourself to run for a governor or a congressional or a senate or a congressional seat. They want to make sure that that's not the concern. The ones that are elected are following their policies and their agendas for the people that elected them to be senators, and the ones that are mayors to be mayors, and so on. So it's I think that's one of the reasons you get a lot of coy feelings. You also get the Democrats maybe unwilling to work in a bipartisan manner if they think they're benefiting a candidate that's going to run for governor on the Republican side coming up. And I think it's unfair. I don't think this is not the time to talk about are you running or not. This is the time to look at policy and look at the changes we need to do to get Guam where it needs to be. And we need to do that on a bipartisan level. We have to work with the Democrats, and they need to work with us if we're going to be successful.
Yeah, but I mean, we only ask at this time because this is the time when you start, getting your wagons together, getting your organization. This is it. I mean, this is the time. We're seeing that with Lou and Josh. They're, making the hires that they need to make. They announced that they're running again, and we haven't heard anything from Republicans.
This is their second time announcing that they're running again, right? The first time was even less than a year from winning, right? And,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
I was intrigued when they needed a second announcement of something they already
Maybe
announced.
we'll get a third one out here at the next Vax clinic. It should be like, hey, by the way, vote Lou and Josh.
No, but it's a challenging time, let me tell you. But it's also full with opportunities, and there are a lot of opportunities for Guam, and we need to be very careful and work together to make sure we capitalize on those as we're entering into a new administration in Washington D.C. who's strongly in a mode to reshape the way that the federal government operates. So we need to be careful that we don't get the short end of the stick, but we also need to be very careful to take advantage of the opportunities that are presenting themselves. And that's part of the reason that I've been in DC for all this time. It is during this transition process, there is a lot of transition documents that are prepared by the departing administration. And we want to make sure that our issues are included in those documents. So when the new team comes in, it's not oh, we've never heard about this issue. It's an issue that they're aware of, and then they're going to make their own position on it. And that's where we need the Democrats to come in and say, hey, we support what the Republicans were doing.
Yeah, but how much of it is going to be Biden Harris looking at this and be like, oh, that's a Trump thing? We're going, and you know, because we see it when we get an incoming administration. One of the first things they do, and you know, both parties, is reverse everything the previous administration did.
Right. So let's go there. So, for example, the Biden administration is doubling down on Obamacare. Well, one of the things that we made sure that showed up in the HHS documents was that Obamacare did not apply to the territories. Like, we didn't get any of the matching funds. We got the requirements, but none of the benefits. There's the mandate that you have to have insurance was not extended into Guam or the other territories. So in the rest of the United States, every U.S. citizen that resides there, and in some places even undocumented workers, are required to have health insurance. In Guam and the other territories, we're only required under the Obama administration's policy that we be offered the insurance. And then if we don't accept it, then that's okay. And that created a problem. That created a huge problem because not everybody had to have insurance. Then the insurance policies in Guam started creeping up and up and up to a point where a lot of the employees are offered the policies, but they can't afford to actually take them. And it's a pity. So we need to make sure that if they're going to re-implement Obamacare Plus, as Biden is calling it, that it takes that into consideration and gives us the funding that we need. So it's a battle we're going to do on the Republican side, but we need the Democrats to come in. We have a Democratic governor, we have a Democratic congressman, and a Democratic legislature. They should be weighing in and saying, hey, make sure that you provide us the assistance and aid we require. So that's just one. I can go on a couple other ones if you want me to. Like, another opportunity is this Buy America initiative that Biden is setting up. He's really into Buy America and reigniting the value of that economy. Well, the first thing that he included in the legislation was a strengthening and elimination of exceptions to the Jones Act. Well, Guam has a partial exception to the Jones Act. The Northern Mariana Island has a full exception to the Jones Act. So if in the implementation of this policy, they eliminate the partial Jones Act exception that Matson is using, guess what? The cost of goods to Guam is going to go sky high, because now the ships that they use for doing this route will no longer qualify. So we need to make sure that those ships are protected and that they actually incentivize U.S. goods to be shipped into Guam. Because as the price of goods from the U.S. keep creeping up, then the foreign goods become more viable at a lower price into people in Guam. So we got to make sure that when we look at the free trade agreements that have been done in the region, they want to restart the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. Well, if you look at the trade agreement between the United States, Japan, the United States, Korea, United States, the Philippines, United States, Australia, Singapore, Guam is not included in the definition of United States in any of those free trade agreements as part of the TPP. And that is a huge problem, because when the first business in Guam last year wanted to start exporting Guam goods into Japan, the Japanese suppliers ended up saying, we can't do it because you're not part of the free trade agreement. And now we got to go through this extra paperwork and taxation that makes your Guam product unviable, because the price point now is way too high. So, if you're going to go into this, then we need to make sure that we start working on this. These are issues that have to be done. You look at the requirement to have a good considered to be made in the U.S. So across the entire United States, if 30% of the value of your good is made in the United States, it's considered made in the U.S. If it's in Guam, it's 70% needs to be produced in Guam. It was done through a head note, through a career employee at the Department of Commerce, and that needs to be changed or removed. Come on, in Northern Mariana Islands, it's 50%. Why the inconsistency between the treatment of the two territories? Why is Guam getting a 70% requirement, and Northern Mariana Islands have 50. But more importantly, why do we have this high tariffs when the requirement with the rest of the United is only 30%? Other opportunity right now, there's a bill going through the House to look at incentivizing pharmaceuticals into Puerto Rico. The Trump White House said that the exception that should be made to incentivize pharmaceuticals should be to all the Pacific territories. And with that in mind, we need to work bipartisanly to make sure that whatever benefit is provided to Puerto Rico to move those pharmaceutical facilities out of China into the United States also is done in a way that it makes Guam a viable location for those goods. So, that's sort of the type of thing that we're looking for. It's technical in nature. I think that once you have people concentrating and focusing on the disparities, most people agree that it should be changed and that Guam should be treated the same as any other part of the United States.
Well, sounds like a lot of work cut out for us on the federal side.
And I think that we need to work with the local legislature. We need to work with our congressman. We need to work with our governor and our chamber of commerce. We all need to figure out how to become a united voice on what we need, because that's the only way we're going to be successful. If you ask me what the lowest low-hanging fruit right now, there is already an initiative to do all the paperwork for immigration of tourists in Japan. So out of Narita, they're going to start doing all the customs and process. So if you come through Narita, when you come to Guam, you wouldn't do the line anymore. You would just go straight into baggage claim and leave. Well, we need to make sure that those CBP officers in Japan are there when the Guam flights are flying. We don't want them to be there just when the Las Vegas and New York or New Jersey flights are going on. But we need to do that now. And we need to be very, very loud, letting people know that we're a tourism destination and that's our number one market. And if we're going to go into that market aggressively, we need to make sure that we are part of this. We were worse. Our impact was worse than any other part of the United States on this COVID tourism industry. No one came close to us.
Are you in Washington now, Juan?
Yeah, I am.
Have you, are you having any discussions with anybody over there regarding the whole issue with the Guam Department of Labor and the reduced work hours, employees that are in that category that are no longer eligible for PUA?
Yes, we put our inquiries in and we've approached it. I understand the congressman is taking sort of the lead on it locally and the governor, but we support the same interaction. During the Trump administration, it was interpreted that they qualify, right? So the issue is now. Mm-hmm. And now it's being interpreted that we don't, and they want us to find a way to fix it through legislative process. And we'll provide our support in any process through the legislation that goes through Congress, mm-hmm. both Senate and House.
Oh, I thought it was the Trump administration that said that they weren't eligible.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's an interpretation on the latest guidance? Extension of the benefits.
So we talked about earlier, there's a lot of people interested in running for governor under the Republican ticket. What about for Congress?
And senators.
And what about Congress?
Interesting. I just started in this job, and I haven't received a call yet from anyone asking me or letting me know that they're interested in running for the congressional seat. I wouldn't be surprised it'll be a number. Will Castro might decide to make another run at it. He made a run right now. Hopefully we could have maybe one of our former governors who might decide that they've already been governor and maybe where they can be more helpful would be in Washington, D.C. or a sitting senator. You never know. But do we have candidates that would qualify and could do a great job in that congressional seat? Absolutely. But I haven't received one as of now.
All right,
Juan. Well, congrats again, and thanks for checking in. Let us know when
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
who's going to run for governor.
yeah. There's one more thing, and I did want to bring this up. If it doesn't, it's I think there were some concerns about why Senator Tony Ada left the office, and I want to make sure that people understand it's we have a wonderful relationship with Senator Ada. I think he's been a great chairman. We've seen an increase in our legislature, to now a 7-8 from a 5-10 legislature. But as he started working the challenges of having to do bipartisan efforts in the legislature, he quickly realized that he needed to focus on his legislative agenda if he wants to achieve the wins that he's interested in. And he didn't have enough time to actually function also in the grassroots, dealing with the village organizations, trying to recruit candidates for running for Senate and for running for Congress, and as well as governorship. So, and then raising the money to run all those teams. So he came to us and let us know that he really wanted to focus on his senatorial role, and we sadly agree. We love him a lot. We feel very strongly, and we're all keeping together. So it's the team still together, the band's together. We're going to move around, and we look forward to working with Senator Ada now his role as a senator in all of his agenda issues.
Hey, I wanted to ask you just real quick about we had interviewed these Russian asylum seekers on the show yesterday, and I know you're an immigration attorney, so I'm at no clue about the process, but we're talking a couple hundred asylum seekers from Russia on Guam currently. They're saying that their paperwork has been in with CBP or whoever it is for years now. We talked to a couple that said they've been here for 2 years. They're living in an apartment. So if you could just shed a little light on the process and maybe what is it that's keeping these asylum seekers here for this long?
Okay, so I'll make the caveat that I'm not providing legal advice or opinion, just my general knowledge of the situation. Sure. As an attorney, I don't want to be somebody who misconstrued. I missed that interview yesterday, so sorry about that. Yeah. But this was the Russians that all came in a plane load that came in, and when they landed, they all asked for political asylum. They were expecting, or somebody misrepresented to them, that process would take around 3 months when they came to Guam. It never takes 3 months. And what's been most problematic is they started running out of money. I'm in the board of Catholic Services, so we've been helping a number of those Russian families through the last couple of years to make sure that they survive. What they give you is, when you ask for political asylum, it's called pending status, so you can work, you can find a job, and you can participate in the community. And that status can be eliminated once your case is viewed, and then at that point you have to leave the country. If they find that there was no merits to your case, then you accrued back time. So that means that those individuals would be barred from coming back to the U.S. for at least 10 years. So it's a tough situation for them. I think they have a strong case. I don't think Russia is their best friend or ally, and they have a reputation for persecuting. But I don't know the specific individual cases that came through. I do want to say I feel for them. A lot of them need to find work, and it's okay to hire them. They will have a social security number, and they can be able to work as with an EAD card, so employment authorization document. The Trump administration, because of COVID, closed down a lot of the consular processing and immigration process for new immigrants coming into the United States during this COVID crisis. The Biden administration is reopening all that. Mayorkas used to be the new Secretary of Homeland Security, used to be the head of USCIS, which is the immigration office at the department. In fact, he's the one that created the CW visa for the Northern Mariana Islands when he was running the office. So he's very knowledgeable of Guam. He's very knowledgeable of the islands, and I think he's already aware of the Russian issue in Guam, and I'm sure that he'll try to address it. But I would expect around 6 months at least that they're going to have to figure out before their cases start looking. In San Diego, the waiting period for a political asylum case is between 12 to 16 years.
Oh my goodness.
So you have to sort of look at this, and it's not it's happening tomorrow. Now the Biden administration is redoing by executive order the immigration system of the United States, eliminating the need for bipartisan rulemaking. That's scary, but we'll see. But there might be something that's beneficial for them in the package that they're rolling out.
Mm-hmm. They kept mentioning how they can't leave Guam, they can't travel, they can't go to Hawaii. Is that right?
Yeah, it's almost like an illegal alien, right? Once they're in the U.S. and they're asking, once you're asking to ask political asylum, if you return to your home country, you eliminate the grounds. Because if they're persecuting you in Russia, why would you go back to Russia? They're going to capture you. So you can go back. You can ask for emergency parole for a real situation that sort of basically says, pending my case being seen, can you let me leave the U.S. and come back? It's done on medical conditions, but to the same country where I'm saying I'm being politically persecuted, rarely. Mm-hmm. It would be to another country. Mm. The reason they don't let you leave also is because you're asking for permanent residency. So if you abandon the residency, then you're abandoning the country.
But they can't go to Hawaii. They can't go anywhere else in the United States. They're just stuck here. Because that's what they're saying. Yeah, that's what they're saying. They can't go to Hawaii. They can't go anywhere else in the U.S. mainland. It's just they're just stuck here.
Yeah, that might have been a decision of USCIS, but I'm unaware of the exact grounds for that. They move across the U.S. You're supposed to tell where you reside and where you live so that people know where you are all the times. But there you could ask for advanced parole. Well, you're not leaving the U.S. Advanced parole is if you're leaving the U.S. I'm intrigued why they would say that. I don't know why, but I think they might be wrong. But again, I haven't practiced in this field for a while, so it's a little hard to give actual legal advice.
Yeah, it's GuamRefugees.com. They've got 4 videos.
Yeah,
they got nicer production gear than us.
Well, you know what? As the Republicans, will look into it. I would love, please let them know to contact us. My email is jcb51@aol.com.
Right.
I'll repeat that, jcb51@aol.com. I'm more than glad to receive an inquiry from anybody that has questions for the party.
Okay.
All right.
And we have a website at Facebook. So if anyone wants to go to Facebook, they can go to our website and put any questions. We monitor that site.
Thanks, Juan.
Appreciate it.
Also, if you're interested in running for Congress, Senator, or Governor, you can also email him.
Right on. Under the Republican.
I think I have a big challenge right now in filling Tony's shoes. That's quite an effort. So we're going to focus on that for now.
All right, Juan. Appreciate it.
Stay safe.
9:30. We'll take a break. Then we're going behind bars, down to the Department of Corrections.